I don't know. These ramblings are getting longer and longer with less topics. Because this again on the German version was 43 minutes long. And actually I had just 4 topics. But the thing is, just to clear things up already from the start, I'm not in a bad mood, depressed or anything like that. I'm actually in a quite good mood. But there are a few things where I'm a little bit in an odd state of mind that I can't really kind of judge myself yet. But in case you don't want any negativity, in case you don't want to see me from a different light as you are maybe used to it, don't watch this video. And if you do, don't blame me. I want you. It will be about channel again. It won't be about tech really itself. I will get into a little bit of some things like reviews and my opinion on it and why I'm a little bit in a odd motivational standpoint. So just so we have covered that. Okay, so I actually have no idea why I actually started or how long it took me, because I know that my intro in the German one was way long and things I went into, but I really don't know why, because I don't know, because I would already like to go to the first topic, but it feels like I've missed something, and I really can't narrow it down. Because, for example, yeah, I don't know. So let's just jump into the first one. So my note was ditching final subjective rating because my priorities are so different, and I actually completely missed that part in the German version when I talked about the different priorities part, because that has something to do that I wrote this note down about a week ago. But I just today actually realized one thing, because the plan, and I just did it today, was my review of the Note 8. It will be released maybe later today or maybe tomorrow. I still have to cut it and so on, even though I don't really cut. But I wanted to make a video that was a little bit different. I wanted to make the detailed part as objective as possible, and then the conclusion be a little bit of an obvious subjective part. But you will, if you see that video, already see that I ditched that idea, just because I noticed that I can't separate both, and I think it shouldn't be even the thing. But the thing is, I felt, since so many people lately complain about the fact that I'm so subjective and they don't like my opinion and so on, which makes no sense to me, because why would you watch my review if you don't care about my opinion? Because at the end of the day, every review, as much as anyone wants to believe you otherwise, it is just someone's opinion. And that's why I'm a little bit weirded out, but I noticed so many people don't like the subjective part, so maybe I should just drop the part of the conclusion. Make the detailed part, which in my opinion is mostly very objective, and then the conclusion. Then the summary, but no conclusion. But today I noticed I can't, and no one should be able to make a review talking about things like the design and things like the display and all these kind of things, because they are subjective. No one, there is no phone where 100% of all people will say it's great. There will be 50% that say it's great, 50% will say it's rubbish. Then maybe another phone and 30% will say it's great, 30% will say it's shit, and 40% will say it's okay, or something like that. And it should be that way, because that's why we have such a variety of devices, because someone might say this is the pinnacle, this is the top of all phones designs, and then someone will say it's the Note 8, and then someone will say it's the Mi 6, and this is legit. And I actually don't get why so many people are upset if I say something which is obviously my subjective opinion and then says you are talking bullshit. Because that was the case, for example, on my LG G6 review today. Someone told me, bullshit, you've talked about smack, but all the complaints that I had were obvious from my standpoint, things that just weren't all that great. Yeah, was it too harsh? Yes. And was it too subjective, same as the S8 review? Yes. Was the Note 8 review that I just made way more balanced? I would say yes. And this kind of proves me one thing. Even though this channel is already older than or more than 4 years old, I still can evolve. I still can improve. Because back in the days, I was even more so subjective. At least now, I'm always obvious about it. And it's not like I'm trying to hide beside something. I say this is what I think, and the rest is objective. Now, if you don't agree on the subjective part, that's fine. But if you don't agree on the objective part or don't believe me, that's something up for you to decide. But I made the decision for myself that I'm not even gonna try it anymore. I will. This is what I said in my headphone review. I will make it more objective, but still add the subjective parts into it. Because what I'm totally against is all the people that try to seem very objective. They tell this is this and this and that, and just because I say I think this is this, it's pretty much the same thing. I could say just about as well this is this and this, and everyone would say, oh, objective, that's good. But what they say is just their opinion. Just because they don't say, in my opinion, this display is good, but say this display is good, everyone says, okay, he said it's good, so it must be good. But I say, in my opinion, it's good, so it's his opinion, it's wrong. Because an opinion can't be wrong. It can't be. And that's why I just don't know what else I should say. The thing is just that, yeah. What should I say? That's just the thing. So I won't drop the subjective part. I won't. I will keep it in. I will try to kind of make it more of a clearer separation of what I think is subjective. I think I made that quite good in the Note 8 review. It's still something that I will have to kind of figure out, because what I could do is just leave the subjective part out, but I just can't talk about a few certain aspects and leave out. It just feels incomplete for me, and I just have to give you my whole picture. What you then pick out of yourself being subjective or objective is a different kind of thing. I'm not aggressive. This was just a little bit of some small fruit fly that is bothering me for the whole German part already. Okay, so the next topic actually should lead me to something of a transition, because there was something that I wanted to say. Yeah, so because especially on the German side, I noticed that a lot of people say we don't care about the subjective part, but I think that the subscribers that I have subscribed to my channel because they put something, they put a weight behind what I say. They care about my subjective opinion. So that's why I think it's weird, and which leads me to the next thing, because there are also so many subscribers or commenters that always tell me that my in-depth reviews are great, the details that I put in. But if it's actually up to me, and this is the topic, the depth of my reviews, I don't care about many specifics, because I actually personally, from my standpoint, think that I am not that in-depth as many might think. Yes, compared to all the very shallow reviews that are out there, which I'm not the biggest fan of personally. I enjoy them watching sometimes, but I personally prefer more detailed, more fact-based, or if it's subjective, obvious things. But I kind of put more emphasis on that, and that's why I like channels like Gamers Nexus. He's super objective, but in a completely, he's almost maybe a little bit too objective, but it all makes sense, and it totally makes up. Or there are so many other channels, Jay's 2 cents and so on. He gives you his objective and subjective opinion, makes clear of that, and this is just something I absolutely love. This is the way it should be, and I personally prefer more details, but I actually would say about myself that I'm not that in-depth, especially compared to many blogs, because there are so many blogs out there that, due to having a written format, can put in so much more info and people can just scrub through. The problem for me is, yes, I still put out more details than many. I would say I'm maybe at a 3/4, because there I think I've a lot of people that are maybe more so detailed, but the reason is why I won't go there is that I think most of these details are just details that I don't care about, and that's what I meant with I don't care about many specifics, because what I was told in the past, I should review the GPS of a phone. I should review, or I should talk about the call reception, the call quality and so on. These are things that I skip on purpose because I don't care about them, because I also think in these days, in 2017, there is no phone that is completely rubbish in terms of call quality. There are some better ones, there are some good ones, there are some not that good ones, but there is not really any rubbish, and then I would point it out, but most of them are good enough to get the job done. Of course, if you are on calls the whole day, then the call quality is important for you. But if you want that kind of information, you either have to ask me how it was because I didn't cover it in the review, or you should just find channels that cover these kind of things. But I don't think it is necessary to cover these things in every review if they are pretty much the same anyways. For example, also cell reception. That makes no sense anyways, because wherever I am, it changes already. And wherever you are, it will be completely different. GPS and so on seems to be more important for people in China, or I mean that use Chinese phones for some reason. I don't know exactly why. Maybe they use them more for GPS navigation and so on, but they put a lot of emphasis on that. I don't care about it. And if you want it, there are sources where you can get that information. But if I would put all these information in a video, the video would be every time 30 minutes plus, maybe even an hour to get all the details done. And then I just think, why should I put myself through all that work? Why should I waste so much time for information that only a fraction of the people actually care about? Because from my experience, I know that maybe 5% care about the GPS. 5% care about the call quality. Why should I, because of these few people, make the video so much longer and actually harder to watch for so many other people? Because I know stats, and let's be just honest, you don't watch every video entirely. If it's a review that is maybe 20 minutes long, you watch 3 or 4 minutes. That's just an average, because my average of my videos is at around 13 to 25 minutes. Let's say 18 minutes, 20 minutes of a review time. But my average of my watch time is at about 4.5 minutes. So it is just that. There are people that always watch the whole thing, or at least the biggest part. But there are so many people just skip it. And I'm already someone who does the extra work and gets time codes done and does something for all the lazy ones. Because this is actually one thing that annoys me. So many people ask me stuff that is covered in the review, and a lot of YouTubers know this. It's a burden, but they ask you something. But I already make it so easy for you. If you want to know my opinion, and if you are too lazy to watch the review, you could use the time codes to find that part that you're interested in. If you are too lazy to even watch that part, you could just watch my conclusion. Because I'm not the conclusion, the summary actually. Because the summary contains all my categories and gives you a rating. This would pretty much tell you already everything about the phone that I think of it. And that is very, very objective already, besides things like design and so on. But if you want to know a little bit more, at least watch the extra 1 or 2 minutes afterwards to watch my conclusion, and you will know that. But most people don't care about it. They're just too lazy, and this is just something that I just don't know. And that's why I don't think it's necessary to make videos even longer for people to watch it, even less to kill my watch time for no reason. If everyone would watch the extra minutes, and if everyone would care about these, I would do it. But I know it's not. So people who want those extra options or information, ask me, or just watch extra. Because this is also something. No one should buy or not buy a device just based on my opinion. Because what everyone does is watch multiple reviews anyways. And then it's actually good that we have this broad spectrum of YouTubers. We have the more in-depth one, we have people like me, a little bit more in-depth or detailed, and then we have the shallow ones that give you maybe a nicer presentation or an experience or entertainment, because I sometimes watch channels also because of the entertainment. Usually not so much, because I prefer information over aesthetics, appeal, and also entertainment and so on, but I watch also entertainment channels. So for everyone who wants to enjoy that, but you can watch everything. And then you should pick out all the parts that make most sense for you. You also know more people's opinions, and then can kind of figure out the middle ground. Because there could be a phone that I like a lot, and there could be a phone that someone else doesn't like at all. And then maybe there is someone reasonable in the middle, and you kind of think, oh, he has right a little bit about that. Maybe the one is a little bit too positive. He's right about those weird things, but he also pointed out the good things, and you find out the sweet spot for you. So I think there is no channel who can deliver all that. Of course, from my standpoint, I do this because otherwise I wouldn't make the review. If I would know that I'm too focused on one thing, or that I'm too subjective on one thing, or too objective on another thing, or too hard on the other one, then I would change it. But in my opinion, I am very fair, I am very balanced, I am objective, but with the additional subjective information. So from my standpoint, I do the sweet spot. But of course, it's not the thing for everyone, because that is the reason. For me, the camera is not important, so I emphasize less on it. For you, it's super important, so from your standpoint, I do something wrong. Then, for me, design is very important. I talk about it all the time. For you, it's not important, so you don't care about that part. And these are things that are fine. So that's why I think there are certain viewers who just enjoy watching certain channels more, because usually I think it's those channels you are the most related to, because the channels I watch most are channels that are kind of similar to me, that give me more information, that gives more casual, with less entertainment, but more of an informational value. That's why I stick to them. And everyone who watches me, I guess, has similar values to me. Because if someone would have completely different values, completely different aspects that are important for him, I don't think he would watch my content. Okay, that's good enough. Let's get into the next thing. No YouTube comment replies anymore, almost. So if you follow me on YouTube, you maybe noticed one thing. I was quite annoyed by a lot of comments lately, and this has nothing to do with being depressed or being not in a good mood, because I am. But at this point, after doing YouTube for over 4 years now, I am just sick of the negativity. I think YouTube comments are toxic, and a lot of YouTubers will agree with me. It's just so hard to get used to that point. And of course, I always took a lot of pride in the fact that I read all the comments and I pretty much replied on all of them. And that's why I said it a few days on YouTube and on Twitter. I said, to keep my insanity intact, I will just completely, which I won't really because it's not possible, ignore YouTube comments. The first answer that I got, I don't think that's a good idea. And I said to him, I never said it would be a good idea, but it's the only solution, because I can. Then the next thing someone said, you have to learn to ignore comments. That, my friends, is only something a non-YouTuber can say, because every YouTuber who just knows this, as much as you want to, unless you are super big and just don't care about anything, you could ignore these. But anyone else, always, even if it's just in his subconscious, will kind of absorb the negativity. And I'm just sick of that. I actually care more about that, because for some reason I just weigh a negative comment more than a good one. And that's why I just said to myself, the only way for me to not get dragged down by the pedantic people, by the annoying people, by not even the trolls actually, is just to ignore comments. There is just no other way for me that I see feasible. But like I said, it's just an almost thing, because it won't be possible anyways, because the thing is just that usually I had notifications on and I watch and I listen to every comment. I mean, every notification that I get, I reply to, or I at least read it. But now I just turned off notifications, and what I will do is still, what I do just because out of curiosity on a new video and so on, I still twice or 4 times a day just check my comments to see if something is there. But even today, I just, but due to my size already now and due to the amount of comments that I get, I also get more negativity. For some reason, it feels to me like the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, there are more obvious, or people are more pedantic, are complaining about weird stuff, trying to shape me in a way, because there are people that say talk slower, there are people who say do this and do that, but that's like you would say someone who walks for his entire life like this and you tell him walk different. It's just not possible. I can't, even though I talk different if I talk with normal people, so not in front of the cam, I talk slower, but on the cam for some reason I talk faster. And I can't change it. And I said already in a video, actually, even without why. And people told me you don't have to explain yourself. But I thought it would be necessary to point out why I talk different or why I talk faster. But I can't change it. Also, things like you should do this and this. I don't. Why should I? This is the way I want to do it because it's right from my standpoint. So why should I change it? So why would you want to change me? Just because it's not what you want. Just don't watch it, but don't try to make me something you want me to be. That's just weird. It makes no sense. And this also just pissed me off because there are so many people, mostly Germans in this case, that are some grammar Nazis that just complain about me saying things the wrong way and they have to write it down. And I had a discussion with someone, actually blocked him because he got so annoying. And I told him that what he said, you said that this and is wrong. I just wanted to point out in a good way. And I said, yeah, you meant it good, but it was unnecessary and annoying anyways, because there are certain things that I just say wrong every time, or that I know better, but just simply make the mistakes every time again, even though I know better. But it doesn't have any impact on the review. The review won't get worse. The review won't get negatively impacted just because I say a word different. Because it's, for example, this was the case on the Nokia 8 review. I guess I said sometimes maybe the Snapdragon 845 instead of 835. That for me is already hard, because English is not my first language, and for some reason I mix up 30 and 40 quite often if it's in the middle of the sentence. And then I say 835 or 845, even though, and everyone said, oh, it's the 835, not the 845. We all know it's the 835 because no 845 exists. So was it really necessary? Don't you have anything better to do to get to your phone or to get to your tablet or PC to type and correct me? Because everyone knows better anyway, even though the spec sheet on the start of the video says 835. And if I once say at 835 instead of all the other times where I said 845, I think it's obvious I make a mistake, and it's an obvious mistake that it doesn't have to be pointed out. And it's those minor negligible things that I'm just sick of. I'm just tired of them. I just don't want to get corrected all the time for useless stuff. And then they say, oh, you are not okay, you can't take critique. Critique is okay if it actually improves anything. If they tell me something that I do fundamentally wrong that has an impact on the review, which has nothing to do with my speech or with my language, that doesn't change. Just because I would say, for example, if I would say house, whose, just because I mix it up sometimes, it was a bad example, I don't know, but it wouldn't have any impact. Everyone would still understand what I mean, and the review would be still as informative or not the same way. So why are people so? And that's just so annoying to me, and that's why I just had to kind of tell myself I'm just gonna ignore it. And if you want to get an answer from me, I guess now the option is one that I didn't like actually before: Twitter or Google Plus. Because I will try to avoid comments on this video, maybe not so much. So here I will jump into the ramblings and read those, because this is just something. Because I also, someone told me that I'm not, I don't actually know the word. I'm not a nice guy. I was unfriendly or not nice to someone, because someone, and that was kind of what triggered me, because someone said to me, I have a question and I know it's not related to the video, but who cares, or it doesn't matter, I'm gonna ask it. And this was triggered me, because he will unknowingly did a comment that he knew has nothing to do with the video, and then he said it doesn't matter. But I told him it does matter for me, because it's disrespectful what you are doing. And just 5 minutes ago I said someone, no topic or off topic comment, no reply. And then someone who has nothing to do with that fact told me, oh, you are so unfriendly and so on. But the guy, and I usually talk to people that I know already. I told him the thing, I said, we kind of sorted things out. He apologized, and I said, it wasn't meant that bad, but I just can't tell someone I won't reply and then give you a reply, especially since you triggered me. If you would have just maybe asked your question without telling me that you know it's off topic and you don't care, then I would have been fine. But that triggered me, because there are so many lazy people who just, and this is something I think I have to clarify. What I think many people think is that if they have a comment on a very old video, I won't know of that. But it's just not just how YouTube works, because I get a notification on a comment of a video that is 2 years old or 2 minutes old. I get the notification. But I just think some don't know, which is legit. But I think most of the people are just too lazy. They see, well, yeah, he just posted a video, let's just ask my question here, instead of going into my channel or on my channel and searching for that specific video that they actually have a question about, or the device, and then they ask. Of course, if it's something that I haven't covered in the video or that I have anything else, there is an option. YouTube, Google Plus, even though Twitter would be the better solution. I did not really like YouTube comments on Twitter because of the character limit and so on. I never really liked to answer those, but from now on, like I said, I will ignore more and more comments even if I see them, sometimes just don't answer them. But what I just don't like is also just someone asking me, when will you review this device, or will you review this device, and so on. Of course, this is something that you can't get a proper review for, where you could ask it for, maybe in a rambling or so, but therefore you would have Twitter. But I just don't like these questions anyways. Okay, camera is dead. Wait a second. I did not expect that. It should have held up, because the battery was charged. So this is really, really weird. Maybe, I guess it wasn't fully charged yet. So I'm still here. You should still hear me, so no panic. The video will come back soon enough. Yeah, I guess that due to the Note 8 video being so long, that there was just not enough time for the device to fully charge. So I hope we will be back soon enough. Yep, and here we are. So like I said, yeah, like I said, yeah, I guess the Note 8 video was just too long, and it didn't have enough time to charge, because the camera usually fully charged should have been good enough. But that's all of that. So like I said, yeah, it's the disrespect, because I also, someone else told that it's disrespectful, and the reason, he said, why is it disrespectful? It's first of all disrespectful to me because you don't care about the actual topic. I put so much effort and time into making a video about one thing, and you ask about something completely else because you don't care about that specific video. That's disrespectful to me. But it is also disrespectful to anyone else who wants to know more about the device and maybe has a question, and he thinks, well, maybe someone already asked it, I can answer, I can read the answer there, or I can get some extra information in the comments, and then he sees, oh, will you review this, or I have something completely else I want to ask, and so on. So this is spam in my opinion, and this is just something that I don't want to go through anymore, because why would I waste my time having to go through all of these unnecessary comments? And I'm, like I said, not even talking about trolls and so on, but why should I filter out the spam about people who want to know something else that has nothing to do with the video, and all the negative stuff, all the pedantic stuff? This is just time that it takes away from me, because for a good reason, all the big YouTubers, which I am not one, don't even, sometimes also they don't care about the comments. I, like I said, always took a lot of pride in being able to answer all of that, but I just can't anymore. I just can't sacrifice so much of my time and also ruin my mood because of people who have nothing better to do than to critique me in a way that is not constructive, in a way that is just kind of unnecessary, annoying, and disrespectful. So in my opinion, what I'm doing is not a good solution, but it's the only one that I have. I can't really say it any other way. So there are, like I said, solutions. Twitter, Google Plus, and I don't like really both. I already thought about a Discord chat and so on, but I think at some point maybe things will improve again. My overall weirdness about those in terms of feeling will change, so I will maybe get back to reading all of them, but I don't know, because this is actually the next topic. The note says, the feeling of having peaked, not numbers, but lack of motivation. So what I want to just make sure, when I'm talking about that I think I have peaked or the channel has peaked, this has nothing to do with the subscribers, nothing to do with the views or anything in terms of numbers, because in that regard I'm fine. I still grow, which is actually super surprising to me after over 4 years that I'm still growing the way I'm growing, which is totally fine. But it's just something that I feel I am kind of stuck at some point, because the videos that I do already for about 4 years in the same pattern. Now, everyone could say, just change up your pattern if it gets too annoying or kind of fatiguing on you. And also this having peaked thing, because Tech Tablets asked me if I feel burned out. It is not burned out. So it is not burned out. It is not something being depressed. It's just this weird feeling that I can't really describe properly, that I think that the channel has reached a level where I don't think it is able to improve any further. And I'm not talking about the video quality, the information quality. It's just things, the presentation, my motivation in terms of presenting videos is just not the same anymore, because I still enjoy, and that's why I will keep doing it, reviewing the devices. Because in the last 3 or 4 weeks, where I put out way less videos than I did before, because usually it's like 5 or 6 videos a week, and now it's maybe like 2 or 3. This week I didn't do anything from Monday until Friday, where I today did the Note 8 review. Because I released the video, I think, on Wednesday, but that I already did on Sunday, because on the weekends I sometimes get to make a little bit more. But this is just something a little bit weird, and I feel kind of stuck, because I don't want to change anything in my layout, because the problem is I thought about making videos different in a way, because so many times I would just like to get in front of the cam, just have the device in hand, even though not showing anything, and just talk about it. But then I know people will complain, hey, I don't want to see your face, I want to see the device. And sometimes it makes sense, but sometimes it doesn't. Because I've seen this so many times, especially back in the days, laptop reviews, where people said, we want to see the device, not your face. But what should I possibly show you when I talk about the battery life? When I talk about temperatures? When I talk about noise levels? I don't have anything to show off the device. Yes, there are a lot of people who cover this up with graphs and slides and diagrams. That's a German word. It's not a diagram. Yeah, but spec sheets and graphs and so on. They show this way. But I don't do this just because it takes up way too much time that I'm okay, comfortable with doing. So what should I show when I talk about the battery life? Here. Now, what did this give you? If I, for example, zoom in on the device and zoom and pan, did it improve the review? Did it improve the information? Maybe it improved the review for you in terms, because you got some nice slides in here and there. But I'm just someone who wants information. I don't care about the optics. Sometimes a nice entertaining video is nice to see. But I think YouTube is big enough that we can have everything. Because you can't expect everyone to have zooms and pans and the nicest transitions and the nicest graphs and so on. Because YouTube is so big. You could just watch someone for the entertainment. You could just watch someone for the information. You could watch someone for a nice in-between. But if I am not one of the thing you like, watch someone else. But don't try to make me someone I'm not. Because someone said, for my channel to improve, to get bigger, to get better, I need scripts, I need overlays, I need B-roll and so on. I personally don't think it will change anything. Not for me. And that's the way. Because yes, for a lot of people it would make it easier to watch instead of watching my face. Sometimes to see the device going through and on that. But that's way too much effort, and you have no idea of how much effort this is in the amount that I have in the free time. I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I don't have the skills to do it properly, and I don't have the time to do it properly, or the way I could do it properly, and this is something that gives me nothing. If it is something that I think, whoa, this really would make the review in a meaningful way better, I would do it. But if I talk about the battery life and I'm just talking, or if I'm talking about the speaker and I'm just talking, and not showing anything, the information for me is the absolute same. And that's why I would actually sometimes even say you don't need to see anything of the device. Yes, design part of course, and performance of course, display maybe yes, software. But so many other times if I just talk, I kind of think I have the balance to do it right, at least the way I do. But it's like I said, it's always the same pattern, because I do my reviews the same way for about 4 years now, because I just think that's the way I want to see reviews, because I make reviews the way I want to watch them. And of course it's not up for everyone, but the thing is, everyone could say, yeah, now spice up things and do scripted reviews. I've tried that, didn't like it. Do things the leaner way if you enjoy them more, just talking. I tried that as well, but I know then people will complain. And just making reviews shorter, just telling you my opinion also doesn't work, because I have my own standards, and I just personally can't release a review where I'm just not committed to it when I know that I didn't fully cover the display, I didn't fully cover the speaker, the performance and so on. And then for me it's an incomplete review that I can't release. I feel bad about it, because I want to deliver you the information that I would expect to get as myself if I watch a review. And I do this sometimes on a quick review where it just doesn't matter. If the device has so many deal breakers or is rubbish in so many aspects, a few things that I not talk about don't care. They don't matter. Yeah, so that's why I have a hard time changing anything on a bigger scale, because I'm okay with the reviews that I do, and that is fine. But by now, even though I have to admit, even though I think it's right from my perspective in terms of information, in terms of what you see, in terms of not delivering too little information, but not too much, not too boring, it is a little bit, I don't want to call it work, but it's just not really motivating me anymore. Especially with also things like that my new kind of workplace is a little bit more exhausting, because I come home, maybe I will get used to it a little bit in overtime, because it's still a very new place, a new kind of work environment for everyone, and until things maybe settle, maybe I think things are like this, because I come home every time way more exhausted than I did in the past due to the different shift model now. I feel like the day is just shorter because I come home later and have to go kind of at the same time to go to bed, because it's just about 1.5 hours of what I come home later. But it feels way more, because I think I come home and the day is almost over. So I feel kind of then a little bit forced, or not forced, but a little bit narrowed down in terms of time, because I always think whenever I try to make a review, I think I need at least 4 or 5 hours, so I have the proper time to get the review done, all the thumbnails, the input, the text, the uploading. But I actually don't need that much. I often just, if everything runs fine, I need maybe 1 or 2 hours. But if I don't have 3 or 4, there is just something in my mind that it feels that it's pushed. And then I just say, oh, I have only 4 hours left. I'd rather not to do it. And that's why I do most of my content on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Actually, mostly Friday and Saturday, because there I could just stay awake longer, or just push it, because I don't have this time restriction in my head, which is what I have usually on other days, which, due to the slightly different shift model and me being more exhausted, is just that. Because therefore, like you have seen maybe, I release way less videos. Of course, a little bit of an excuse for the last 2 weeks is that I was just sick. I'm still actually a little bit, because I'm recovering from something. It wasn't actually cold, it was a little bit more, but that is mostly done. But my ear is still completely off, because I hear very muffled. It still hurts, it's still infected. I can't use headphones, so I can't review what I like doing the most. I can't enjoy music over headphones. I have some speakers here to review. I can't properly judge them because I hear mostly from the left. The right is very dull and kind of deaf by now, and it still hurts, and it itches and so on. So that is an excuse for 2 weeks. But the rest before, like I said, I feel a little bit more exhausted and so on. It's not a burnout. It's not a burnout, because a burnout was what I had kind of like a few weeks before that, where I just made too many videos and I just had too much review devices. But by now, I actually settled on way less by now, because I have way less pressure. The biggest pressure that I actually have, I put on myself, because I have one phone here, one I just finished, one more that I have to review, the comparison, so on. Then I have some headphones, I have a microphone, I have a few speakers, but this in a time frame that I could easily manage, and I wouldn't have to worry about also the laptops and so on. And I don't actually have this pressure anymore, so it's kind of not a burnout anymore, because I feel way more relaxed these days. I just think so many times, if I have to do it, I mean, I don't have to do it today, let's just do it tomorrow. And I kind of noticed that I kind of regress or procrastinate a little bit more. I just drag, because I wanted to do the note review already on Wednesday. I thought, why do it? Why stress? Let's make it Thursday. Thursday, I was so busy with many other things, and I just didn't do it anymore again. So blah, 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 blah. So I don't want to cover it too much longer, but actually I think I've dragged things a little bit longer, because what I did talk about, let me actually check one thing. What I did talk, yeah, so I should be, but because it won't work out, I have 4 more minutes left for one thing that I covered, because maybe you've noticed it again, my lighting is actually, and this is a little bit something that pisses me off, back to the old ways. Now what you're thinking, you don't know what I'm talking about, because I spent like 300 or 400 euros for LED lights. And now what you see is actually the old lights that I had before, so my soft boxes. Why? I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it the way I wanted, because I know this is a little bit of boring topic for some, but for anyone who cares, because some said all the light stuff was actually quite interesting. But the thing is, what I have right now here is two soft boxes quite in front of me, one a little bit above that kind of brightens up the room here back, one that is kind of above my head that lights up the rest of the room, and one from the back that makes my baldy head shine. Oh, I actually had that off. So as you can see here, this should have been actually on, because hair light is important. But by now it doesn't matter, so I had it off the whole time. But the problem for me was with the LED lights pointing at me. I was able to get myself in the light that I actually preferred a little bit more, because I think it felt a little bit more right. What I didn't do any, because I'm back at the old levels, but this I didn't do anything. I just put the light again back where it was, kinda, because I think this part is a little bit darker than the other side. What was that? And I just set this and made the white balance control. On the other light, I actually have to say I did not really change much, but it is the most accurate picture, the colors that I had so far from the other cam. You will see this on the Note 8. I think this is one of the most accurate ones that I had, so I checked this with this. It looked everything very original, very natural. The thing is though, I never really wanted that, because especially when I had the LED lights on a few videos, colors were noticeably warmer, but in a way that I liked them. So I always said my videos are not color correct, but in a pleasant way that I enjoy them. Because, I don't know. Problem was though, with the LED lights, I could get myself that I liked it a lot, but then the devices were completely dark, because for some reason the soft boxes illuminate the whole room a little bit more, and even though I have no real light coming from behind, it's all just reflecting from the cupboard and the one that is for the hair light. That's the only thing that's coming from behind, so mostly just reflection. But these reflections are enough to light up the device that I want to record also from behind. Because the issue was that if I had the old LED lights, if I wanted to show this, it would have been complete darkness and it looked completely off. And I didn't like that. Also very weird shadows, which is also another thing. But if I would put LED lights behind me at some place, I was either completely overexposed, one thing was glowing, or what you did notice that my hands, if I had the lights so close that I didn't maybe overexpose in the face, my hands were completely overexposed, way too bright, but in a harsh way. I don't have this on the soft boxes because they are way softer, of course. And I did just reach this level, so either one or the other thing, so either the device was over or underexposed, I was over or underexposed, I got harsh light, shadows and so on. I just didn't get it right. And this annoys me a little bit, because I paid 300 or 400 euros, now I can't get them back. Okay, now I know, actually I planned to, the initial purpose of these were for downstairs in the hi-fi review studio that I have or want to make, to get there. And since I don't need to record the device with a different cam, but just on me, I can maybe get it done. I have not checked it yet because I don't have the proper tripods to get it done, but I will try to do my best. I don't want to drag this any further because this one is actually already longer than the German version. But I'm back to my old lights. It's the better solution. It's not the one that I liked, because in some aspects I liked the video more on the old version, but it was just too odd. I felt too dark in some aspects. It was too harsh light. This feels more natural, at least again. I don't like the colors in some aspects so much, but considering that I did nothing just but white balance, colors are actually quite okay. I still have to kind of figure out why I'm here yellow and here red. I don't know, something is different, because I don't know how exactly I had the lights the last time, because something is definitely different, but I'm not quite sure what it is, because this I'm picky about these smaller things. But yeah, this was it. Like I said, no tech topics today. Once again, just about the channel. I don't know. I won't do a specific word. You have to tell me if you watch the whole thing, because someone told me in the comments that it was childish. I kind of agree, but it was kind of nice to see that people have watched it. and they could prove it with a word. Otherwise, if they just talk about one topic, I don't really know if they've watched the rest. So it was kind of a nice acknowledgement from your side, but yeah, it's not really nice. I guess it was a little bit childish, but otherwise, I really don't know what else to say. Like I said, things are a little bit in the open. I'm not quite sure about the channel. I feel good some days, and sometimes I feel like I don't want to make a review, because today when I did the Note 8 review, I was in such a good mood. I made the review, I really liked it, and I know after I see a few comments again, maybe tomorrow I won't be in the same good mood. For some reason I was in a very good mood today, even though I was so pissed, and it completely changed. So I don't really know why it is. Like I said, it's not being burned out, it's not being depressed because I'm in a good mood, things are running fine, but it's this feeling very, very much in the subconscious that I just feel like something is not what it should be, like something is not the way I want it to be, and so on. Bye. Let's stop this.